And we are live once again. Had to come back, wanted to get back to it. Um, I promised that I would spend more time online. I am doing so. And right now, we are live. Wanted to go back over some more of um, wanted to go back over some of the Telegram information that I have. Telegram is good. I like it. It gives me a lot of information. I feed on it. It covers anything from Russia, Ukraine to the Iran war, uh, from Al Jazeera to the Epstein files. And one claim from Mike Benz, I like Mike Benz, he's a very good source, talks about Epstein launched and bankrolled the Clinton Global Initiative. Uh, Ghislaine Maxwell swore under oath that Epstein was one of the original founders and major financial backers of the Clinton Global Initiative. Mountains of hardcore evidence, documents, photos, flight logs, eyewitness testimonies prove the Clintons run a deep, tight knit operation with Jeffrey Epstein. And he's basically saying that perjury carries serious prison time and they should be locked up. Um, the Clintons have been uh, a staple in the Democrat Party. They have been the go tos as far as uh, fundraising, as far as getting out the vote. People have, in the Black community, have basically made Bill Clinton a a saint. Yes, if you would. And there's nothing that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton could do to Black people to make them not like them. Even if a woman walks into a church and says that she has hot sauce in her bag, that doesn't offend them. If Bill is playing saxophone in a church, that doesn't offend them. If they are for um, degenerates, that doesn't offend them. There's nothing, there's nothing you can basically do to offend Black people. You are a Republican, you are a Democrat, you can say whatever you want. No one's going to be offended because they can't be offended. And that is the actual facts. Tucker Carlson um, has been on a serious mission. He has been on a roll trying to um, expose the amount of Israeli influence in our government, APAC, and all of the Zionists that are controlling our government. And the American people are unaware of this, but it is happening. And the fact that our government has been infiltrated, it has been taken over by people who only want to see Israel take over the Middle East, and they're using America as the bully to take care of their dirty work. And it's basically going to destroy our reputation in that region. And our military is being used, and lives are being basically uh, spent for the sake of Israel. And it says the Trump administration's policy will reduce legal immigration to the United States by an estimated 33 to 50%. This is the National Foundation for American Policy analysis of legal immigration reduction. Actually, you know what I believe, and that's if you care what I say. Um, I think America needs to shut down immigration. And if we shut down immigration, we need to incentivize Americans to have more children. If we have more American children, if we were to reinstitute nationalism, bring back the Pledge of Allegiance, bring back prayer into our schools, bring back corporal punishment, and bring back jail sentences for children who are acting up in our schools and acting up in public. We need to restore law and order in our country. Right now, America is a rogue country with too many uh, opposition agents operating in our midst. You have people who are Muslims who basically hate America, like the Squad. You have people who are trying to implement Sharia law in our country. This is not a Muslim country. This is a Christian country. That is what it was founded upon. We should also make sure that people who run for office are Americans, not immigrants, not first generation. You have to be born American. If you're not American born, you can't hold office because you come with an agenda. And once you get into to office, as we have seen, these people go against our American tradition and our American culture. How can you have a country when there's such a rift in the beliefs of the people who live here? You can't have a country when people are saying, oh, no, I don't believe in these laws. I believe in these laws over here from my country. We have to demand assimilation. We have to demand that English is the official language. Why can't Congress come to the realization that English is our national language? We shouldn't be satisfying or appeasing people coming from other countries by giving them loopholes to say you don't have to learn our language. English should be, if Trump does anything, he should have Congress make English the official language and then get rid of the federal income tax. He will have a monument built for him. I don't care where it is. They'll find a mountain to engrave his face on. But it reads that the foreign-born population in America declined by 1.5 million people in 6 months from January to June 2025. Since then, deportations have only increased in speed and efficiency. And I think deportations should be ramped up, throw people out so we can have Americans here, free up housing, free up our social system, our safety nets, and basically leave America to Americans. We need to install some nationalism, patriotism, and make sure that America is for Americans. And we need to get money and influence from abroad out of our politics, because compromised elected officials do nothing for the American people. It is actually sad to know that you have officials in this country that aren't doing the work American people. This is a lot of good information here. It says Race Realism Channel says that 5 highest IQ countries worldwide: Singapore 109, Japan 106, Taiwan 105, North Korea 104, and Estonia 102. Contrary to prior overestimates, China's average IQ is 100, on par with the Netherlands. Interesting. Despite massive third world immigration, the average IQ in Western countries range from 95 to 100. Americans aren't very smart. Average IQ in the vast majority of sub-Saharan African countries is between 65 and 75. Wow. That right there is amazing. Wow. But it reads the vast majority of sub-Saharan. I don't understand this sub-Saharan. They always try to divide Africa between, what they call black people and other black people. It's pretty, you want to talk about racism? That's racism. When you have people trying to tell you who you are and they don't have a clue to who you are. And it also it says 86% of Asians are in favor of increased family immigration. I'm sure they are because they want to come here and take over our country. Party affiliation, wealth, and ethnicity make little difference. A mere 19% of Republican voting Asians oppose increased family immigration. The wealthiest Asians are only 3% more likely to oppose increased family immigration than the poorest Asians. Indians are the most supportive of increased family immigration, with 60% voting strongly support. Of course, because they come from an S-hole country that's disease ridden, and they come here and they want to take over. This is not India. We are not Hindus. We need to stop the flow of immigration because they are trying to change the fabric of this country. Chinese are the least supportive of increased family immigration, with 79% voting support or strongly support. Hmm. Interesting. Interesting facts. I just like being able to uh, go through and see things. And I'm looking actually for the, here's Al Jazeera. What's going on, Al Jazeera? I'm trying to see if I can find something. Um, when is this? This was 1246. Global markets react to Middle East conflict. Travel stocks hit uh, and oil rises. They're saying that oil has risen, and then it actually dropped after Trump announced that the conflict in the region is going to be short lived. So, mm, and I guess we are back. I don't know what happened. Got knocked off somehow, but we are back. And I was looking for Chrissy Nome, and there we go. I think we're back. Looking for Christy Nome, and Christy Nome must have known I was talking about her because I, I got booted. I got booted, man. And um, uh, but yeah, Christy Nome got fired because of let me find it for you. There's a lot of information out there. Nome Christy, but yeah, she was basically fired after I guess Kennedy was questioning her. Um, but she was appeared. Let me do this first, because Chrissy Noem's marriage under fire after bombshell hearing. Her refusal to deny affair leaves family humiliated as one detail keeps her husband there. Hmm. Former Secretary of Homeland Security Christy Noem testified in front of Senate Judiciary Committee on March 3rd about the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, border control actions in Minneapolis, and other contentious issues related to her scandal plagued tenure on the job. I am off again. This is really weird. Why is it? Okay, I'm talking. Okay, there you go. Um, Two citizens were killed by agents in the city, and protests against ICE and Border Patrol grew as Nome defended the agents, as well as President Trump's cruel immigration policy. This is but MSN. This is stupid bias. Cruel. So basically, enforcing the laws of our country is cruel. And this is why Democrats cannot be trusted. They don't like the Constitution. They do not like laws. They think everything is based on feelings and emotions. And and emotions are not what this country is based upon. It's about the rule of law. This is a republic. If you don't like the laws, then change them. But until then, the rules and the laws are the rules and laws. Those two people who were there were activists who were there to interrupt ICE from doing their job. So basically, you have federal agencies trying to do their jobs, and you have people out there trying to prevent them from doing their jobs, which is basically uphold the law. And the media sees nothing wrong with that. They're never going to report the truth on this issue. They're basically going to continue to say that, oh, it's cruel. I don't care about your feelings. Facts don't care about your feelings. Are they doing the work they're hired to do? Trump fired Noam amid the congressional hearings in which Noam was confronted about the illegal extramarital affair she's having with Homeland Security aide Corey Lewandowski. And as folks learn Noam's dismissal, they also wonder what's to become of her marriage amid the affair rumors. Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse grilled Noam during the hearings over her alleged affairs. Her husband, Brian Noam, sat nearby with a disgruntled expression on his face. You know, is her job not being done? I think, that was just a whole smear campaign. What does it matter to get into this lady's personal business if she's doing her job? I think this is garbage. I can't read it because it's garbage. It's not news. This is sensationalism. Whatever that woman is doing is between those adults, her husband and Corey Lewandowski, and the fact that you're going to sit here and get into her face because you don't like the fact that she's doing her job. You want to cause controversy. I'm sorry. Chrissy Nome appears with Trump after being fired. Now, that's probably a story. And this is from The Independent. Days after Donald Trump publicly humiliated. Oh, jeez, man, they just can't write a story. Cannot just write the story. Publicly humiliated Chrissy Nome by firing her as Homeland Security Secretary. I'm going to get rid of this. I'll tell you that. She appeared alongside the president at a summit in Miami, Florida, where she repeatedly praised his leadership. And the event at Trump's National Doral Golf Club was dubbed Shield of America Summit and saw the president encourage other gathered leaders from Latin American nations to take military action against drug trafficking cartels and transnational gangs that he says pose an unacceptable threat to the hemisphere's national security. This is why I don't like the media. This is why I don't like the media. You can sit here and say that where he says these transnational gangs that he says pose an unacceptable threat to the hemisphere's national security. If you were doing investigative journalism, you would know that these people bringing drugs to our country and to other countries are a transnational threat. But these people are so sick and so biased, they cannot tell the truth. They are going to sit here and always say, he says. Then why are you a journalist if you're not going to investigate? Why are you a journalist and if you're not going to tell the truth? This is just propaganda. And it's really, really sad that we can't even trust people who are hired and paid to do their job as journalists to tell the truth. They're anti-American. They don't care about your safety. They don't care about your safety at all. They just care about, how can we make this negative about Trump? This is all the media is about today, is how can we make Trump look bad? No one's in attendance in her new role as special envoy to the initiative. She was fired Thursday from the top job at DHS, making her the first cabinet official to be outside in Trump's second term. Also, the president at the Miami event was Corey Lewandowski, Noam's advisor at the department, who has also left his role. The pair have been dogged by allegations of inappropriate relationship. At a congressional hearing earlier this week, Noam refused to answer directly when she was asked about the alleged affair by a lawmaker. Lewandowski posted a picture of Trump and other world leaders to his X account. In her first remarks in her newly formed role, Noam repeatedly expressed her gratitude and admirations for Trump. What's wrong with that? First of all, I offer thanks to our president who had the vision to bring all of you as world leaders here, Noam said. She also thanked Trump for giving me the honor and the opportunity to serve as special envoy to this region. This is intended to be a group that works together to make sure that we are each defending our own sovereignty. We're each defending our own security and economic prosperity, she continued. This shield of the Americas will be a powerful example to the rest of the world about what's possible. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And they're going to sit here and just look past everything she's actually doing and want to create chaos. The media is part of the problem. They're part of the problem, man. I'm still trying to find, let's see, got the Republic, Al Jazeera. And let's see what's going on in Republic. Because when I'm on my phone, I see all different types of articles. When I start going on to online on my laptop, that's when everything just disappears. Because I see Red State and they have some really good articles. Then you just disappear. I think maybe it's just different. In Iran, they say the IRGC Aerospace Force will intensify its offensive operations starting tonight. Woohoo! An informed official announced to Fars News that a significant increase in the operational capabilities of the IRGC will take place in order to counter the savagery of Trump and the White House. The IRGC will increase the volume of its drone operations by up to 20%. You better watch out now. The use of ultra heavy and strategic missiles will also double, increasing by 100%. Is that what your new leader is up to? Wow. Talk about gluttons for punishment. These people will sit here and want to string this thing out, and they don't understand. Trump is not playing around with you. Somebody is going to have to yell uncle. And I don't think it's America. It really isn't. I think if they really, really wanted to get out of this thing, they really would. But they're hanging out. Somebody's advising them incorrectly. They need to get rid of the people who are basically misinforming them, because they're going to lose, and they're going to lose badly. I don't think if I was in Iran, I would want to hang out. I'd be trying to run to the border and go to maybe Iraq or go somewhere. But that's not the place you want to be. Seeking Alpha. Let me find a lot of, let's find here. It's really Army. Let's do this right here. Breaking Financial Times. Israel rejected Lebanese diplomatic efforts to halt its escalating offensive against Hezbollah. For the second time since the start of the war, Putin spoke by phone today with Iranian President Mossad Pezeshkian. Putin's everywhere. And I don't think Iran or Russia or China is going to let this thing just die. They're probably telling Iran, just like America is telling Ukraine, keep the war going, because it keeps them occupied, lets them use their weapons, and makes them spend more money. The U.S. President Donald Trump stated if Iran has laid mines in the Strait of Hormuz, they must be removed immediately. He warned that failure to do so will result in unprecedented military consequences for Iran. And so far, 104 enemy drones have been shot down and destroyed. They have a lot of drones in Iran, and it doesn't cost them anything. Basically, they're just making them and throw them out there. You're using all types of um, ordnance against these drones. They could care less. Long as you are wasting your ammo and spending money, they could care less. And Israel seeks control of southern Lebanon. Field developments indicate that Israel is seeking to impose a new reality in southern Lebanon, potentially gaining control over about 10% of the country's territory by evacuating areas south of Litany River and establishing what is called it calls a security belt within Lebanese lands. This move comes amid repeated Israeli warnings to residents of villages south of the Litany to evacuate immediately, alongside large military mobilizations and increased ground movements along the border. The Israeli army issued urgent warnings to residents of the area between the Litany River and Israeli border, covering about 10% of Lebanon, beginning with the evacuation of 83 villages and followed by ground advances and troop deployments in southern Lebanon. You know, it kind of makes me doubt all this nonsense. They're doing a lot of maneuvers basically at our expense. The Aramco warns of global oil crisis amid Strait of Hormuz blockade. Saudi Arabia's state oil company has warned that continued U.S. Israeli attacks on Iran and the result blockade of the Strait of Hormuz could trigger catastrophic consequences for global oil markets. While the kingdom can reroute around 70% of its usual exports through pipelines and storage, Amin Nasser, Aramco's CEO, stressed that prolonged disruption would have drastic effects on the world economy. The strait, a vital artery for nearly a fifth of global oil shipments, has been effectively closed for 11 days due to the war, removing about 20 million barrels of oil from the market daily. That is going to hurt in the pockets. Wow. Wow. And I think a lot of these people um, in Iran, they do a lot of bolstering. There a lot of posturing. They say a lot of things that aren't true, sort of like Baghdad Bob. They say a lot of things. They make these grand overtures saying, we're going to, rain down hell on the American. No, you're not doing anything, man. You're not. Because if you could, you would, but you can't. So you're bluffing. You want to be bigger than you actually are. You don't have the ability to hurt America, and you don't have the military. You just don't have the weapons or the military. We're stronger than you. We're bigger than you. We're better than you. And we need to hurry up and end this thing. And I mean, like dramatic, like we need to overwhelm them and make them fold. Because the longer this goes, the stronger they look. And Russia has no problem with us uh, continuing this war. China doesn't have any problem with us continuing with this war because they're them logistical support, just as we were doing in Ukraine. So there's a lot of U.S. asked Israel to halt strikes on Iran energy. And here's according to Axios, the United States asked Israel on Monday to halt its strikes on Iran oil and energy infrastructure, warning that continued attacks could drive up global oil prices. You think Israel cares about the price of oil? You think Israel cares about the fate and the plight of American people? You think Israel cares if they just mess up the whole region? They understand America's with them, and they're going to basically tell us to take their lightweight. A Palestinian detainee, Saja Daragma testified to severe abuse while held in Israeli detention. She said Israeli soldiers surrounded her while smoking, using her hand as an ashtray and extinguishing cigarettes on her body, neck, and fingers. She also testified that a female soldier forced her shoe into her mouth. Now go figure that one. Hmm. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said that any Arab or European country that expels Israeli and U.S. ambassadors will be granted complete freedom and authority to pass through the Strait of Hormuz starting tomorrow. Oh man, these guys are something. In a separate statement, the IRGC said it would determine the end of the war in West Asia, responding to Donald Trump's claim that the conflict could end soon. So they're trying to say two things at the same time. Wow. I tell you, these guys, they say a lot of things. They're just really, really, um, yeah. You can't trust what they say. You have to basically go by their um their actions. And their actions said they're struggling. They are struggling and they're losing. And they know they're losing, so they're desperate. Here we go. Now we're at red state. Trump promises swift and violent response if Iran deploys mines in the Strait of Hormuz. I would think so, because once you start hitting vessels that are going through with mines, you're going to have people very afraid to go through. So, Carolyn Levitt, um, speaking to the press, in Tuesday's White House press briefing, Press Secretary Caroline Levitt took the podium to update the president's schedule for the week, as well as reiterate President Trump's Monday message on Iran, while reinforcing the aims of Operation Epic Fury, which is to destroy Iran's ballistic missiles, annihilate the Iranian missile industry, disable Iran's terrorist proxies from destabilizing the region, ensure Iran never obtains a nuclear weapon. Along with the president's aims to ward off economic instability um, in the West, Levitt reassured that the Strait of Hormuz would remain open to civilian um, and military vessels. Hey, I guess so. Um, Levitt further warned that Iran would continue to suffer if they attempted to thwart this. U.S. forces are degrading the Iranian regime's ability to project power at sea and harass international shipping. For years, Iranian forces have threatened freedom of navigation in waters essential to American, regional, and global security and prosperity. Last night, President Trump reiterated his commitment toward keeping oil flow through the Strait of Hormuz so the United States and all of our allies can receive their energy needs. President Trump will not allow rogue Iranian terrorists to stop the freedom of navigation and the free flow of energy. Let me be clear, and this always means let me tell a lie. Um, it is a good thing to wipe out terrorists who indiscriminately target civilians and attempt to hold the global economy hostage, and President Trump should be commended for doing so. They will be hit by the world's most powerful military 20 times harder than they have been hit thus far. That's look bad. People in California and Minnesota look really bad, and they should. Mm, mm, mm. If something happens in America, they're going to try to jump all over and blame Trump. But Trump is going to have to hit back as well as the Republicans say, hey, no, 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 no. This is you and your boy, and we're not taking the blame for it. You guys are going to take the blame for it because they're here because you allowed them in. And I know that there was a problem with Spain allowing America to uh, stage uh, inside of Spain. And Trump said the U.S. is cutting off all trade with Spain after the country banned the U.S. from using their military bases for strikes on Iran. Why would you say no to an ally to strike a terrorist regime? Do I think that Iran's a terrorist regime? I don't know. I think that if you are a country and you are sovereign, you have the right to do whatever you want. But I also think that if you are out wreaking havoc in your region, do I know that Iran is wreaking havoc in the region? I know they're trying to attack U.S. military bases. I know they don't like Israel. So if I'm going to be judging them based on the U.S. and Israel, they could probably be seen as uh, agents of chaos. Would I go as far to say that they are terrorists? I don't know about that. But my thing is, it depends on your perception and your perspective. If you are an American and you don't like Iran, then you're probably terrorist. If you are an Iranian or someone in the Middle East that is a Muslim, you probably say they're just defending themselves. It all depends on how you look at it. I'm not going to be either this or that, but yeah. Geopolitics kick off the weeks as markets react to escalating conflict with Iran. Key driver for oil and risk sentiment, inflation, labor, and activity data follow in a packed macro slate. Expect volatility, especially in the futures ahead of data prints. U.S. futures react to Iran situation. February ISM manufacturing PMI data. Manufacturing PMI offers a snapshot and price pressures in factory sector. I'm not interested in that. I'm trying to find. It says Iran has begun laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. They are tempting Trump. They are tempting him. The Trump administration asked Israel beginning Monday not to carry out additional strikes on energy facilities in Iran, particularly oil facilities, following Israel's widespread bombing of oil depots this past week. They don't want to lose the oil. We can't lose the oil. We need leverage. The oil is leverage. We need that leverage. And Israel is trying to mess us up. This is why we should boot those bums and do our own thing. Israel can't be trusted. The Zionists can't be trusted because they are out here doing their own thing. They are out for themselves. In breaking news, a gunman has opened fire near an Orthodox Jewish synagogue in Baltimore, Maryland. Reports indicate law enforcement had taken sniper fire from inside the building. This is a story. So much. I'm going to try to find all of the information. Um, One last thing. Sonny Holston on The View was complaining that President Trump should lower gas prices and end homelessness in California instead of dealing with Iran. And she forgets to mention that our good buddy Gavin Newsom created those very same issues. I think The View is outdated. I think it should be shut down. Those women are clueless. They're total bimbos, airheads, low IQ, knuckle draggers, smooth brain. They're just idiots, and they're just basically reinforcing the fact that men should never have respect for goofy women. Um, uh, I don't know who's watching that show. You have to be really brain dead to watch that show. You're not going to learn anything. It's just they're just an echo chamber of four idiots just bouncing things off each other just for a whole hour. You're not going to learn anything. You're going to understand they hate Trump, and that's about it. They wouldn't have a show if Donald Trump didn't exist. If Donald Trump didn't exist, The View wouldn't exist because they have nothing to talk about. They have nothing to offer as far as information. It's just their opinions on silliness. It's just silly. And we just know that, hey, you guys hate Trump, and that's all we need to know. But as far as what you need to know, I'm going to get out here for right now. And until then, drop me a line, comment down below, share, and ring the bell. This is your boy Ace Capone. Peace. And I'm gone.